Welcome back to Sip and Talk.
Hey everyone, great to be here.
Today we're diving into a really classic debate, one that probably touches everyone listening. Early birds versus night owls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we always hear the early bird gets the worm, but is that really the full story? We want to unpack who truly maybe masters life.
Yeah, and maybe it's less about who and more about how, right? Like how understanding your own natural rhythm helps you take control.
Exactly. We're going to look at this from, well, all sorts of angles, research, everyday stuff, and we've even got some thoughts from our friend Mickey later on.
Ah, Mickey, yeah.
So you might already know if you're a morning person or a night owl. Or maybe like you're somewhere in the middle, which science says is actually pretty common.
Right, most people aren't extremes.
We'll explore the strengths, the weaknesses, what the science actually tells us about these rhythms, and ultimately, what does it really mean to, be in control of your own life?
Let's get into it.
Okay, let's kick things off with the early birds. They always seem so successful, don't they? Like the world just works for them.
Well, yeah, the biggest thing is just how society is structured. Think about it. School starts early. Most jobs are 9 to 5. Banks open early.
All right.
So if you're naturally up early, you fit right in. There's less friction with the standard schedule.
Okay, so fitting in is one thing. But what about other advantages? Does science back up this idea that they have an edge?
It does seem that way sometimes. There was a study, I think in the Journal of Applied Social Psychology, suggesting early risers often report being more positive.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and more self-disciplined, emotionally stable. They even found it easier to, achieve their life goals. It's like they wake up already ahead somehow.
I could see that positive mindset, that discipline. It probably helps in the workplace, too. Those early morning meetings everyone loves.
Right. If you're hitting snooze to the last second, you might miss out on key decisions or just, setting the right tone for the day.
And what about that quiet time? Those early hours before the chaos starts.
Oh, that's huge. It's perfect for meditation, planning your day, getting a workout in, or just deep, focused work without any interruptions.
Like Tim Cook, right. Doesn't he get up at some crazy hour?
Yeah, something like 4:30 a.m., reportedly. And Obama was known for his early workouts, too. They definitely leveraged that quiet time.
Okay, but it can't be all sunshine and productivity, right? What are the downsides for early birds?
Definitely not. A big one is afternoon fatigue. They can really hit a wall later in the day.
Yeah, the 3 p.m. slump hits hard.
Exactly. And that can kind of cramp their social life if they're just wiped out by evening. And maybe more importantly, if you're not naturally an early bird, forcing it can lead to serious sleep debt.
Which is bad news all around. Health, mood, everything.
Absolutely. It's not just about willpower. Messing with your natural clock has consequences.
Okay, let's flip the script then. Night owls? They often say the night is their time, right? When the creativity really flows.
Mm-hmm. And there's research to back that up, too. Many creative types, writers, artists, programmers, tend to lean towards being night owls.
Why is that, do we think?
Well, some research, like in personality and individual differences, found night owls often excel in something called divergent thinking.
Divergent thinking?
Yeah, it's basically about generating lots of new, different ideas, thinking outside the box. The quiet late hours might just be the perfect incubator for that.
That makes sense. Fewer distractions, more freedom to just let your mind wander. You've got that self-paced control.
Exactly. The world slows down, emails stop pinging. It's ideal for deep focus or creative exploration without constant interruptions.
You mentioned Walt Disney, Haruki Murakami. They were night owls.
Yep, known for their late-night creative work.
Yeah.
And Aaron Swartz, the programmer, often coded deep into the night. There's this idea of soul dialogue happening late at night, two deeper conversations, sudden insights.
It's kind of magical, actually. But, like the early birds, they must have their own challenges.
Oh, for sure. The biggest one is probably that social mismatch we talked about. Their natural rhythm just clashes with the standard 9 to 5 world.
Right. And that leads to misunderstandings, like people thinking they're lazy.
Exactly. Or unkempt or unreliable. Just because their peak hours are different, it's often really unfair.
And what about health? Is it risky being a night owl?
Well, this is important. Some studies, like one in Nature back in 2019, did find links between being a night owl and higher risks for things like type 2 diabetes, obesity, even depression.
Okay, that sounds serious.
It is, and this is but it's often tied more to the sleep deprivation that happens when they try to force themselves onto an early schedule for work or school.
So it's not being a night owl itself, it's the trying not to be.
Precisely. It's the chronic lack of sleep from that mismatch. The key for everyone, early bird or night owl, is getting enough quality sleep. That 7 to 9 hours the CDC recommends. When you sleep matters less than if you get enough restorative sleep.
Okay, that's a really crucial clarification. So, the science doesn't really pick a winner, does it? It's more complicated.
Way more complicated. And a lot of it seems to be genetic. We have these things called chronotype genes.
Genes, so it's literally in our DNA.
Largely, yeah. It helps determine if you're naturally a morning person or an evening person. It's not just preference, it's biology.
So trying to force yourself into the opposite schedule is like fighting your own body.
Pretty much. It can cause real stress, mess with your attention span, even throw your hormones out of whack. Your body is sending signals that this isn't right for it.
Wow. And you mentioned earlier, most people aren't even extreme larks or owls.
Right. A 2017 study found most adults fall somewhere in the middle. So this whole extreme early bird versus extreme night owl thing might only apply to a smaller percentage of the population anyway.
Okay, this leads us right back to the big question. Who really masters life? If it's not about the time on the clock, then what is it?
Well, the consensus from research seems to be shifting. It's not about when you wake up. The people who truly get a handle on life, who feel in control, they're the ones who understand their own rhythm and, crucially, know how to use it effectively.
Self-awareness and application, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's not about forcing, it's about flowing with your nature.
Exactly. So the core principles aren't tied to a specific time. It's more about, can you manage your time well within your peak hours?
Okay.
Do you actually prioritize getting enough rest and recharging whenever that happens for you? And can you find a balance between your health, your work or creativity, and your responsibilities in a way that genuinely works for you, not just for society's clock?
It boils down to choice then. Real choice. Like whether you choose to meditate at 7 a.m. or write your novel at 2 a.m., the mastery comes from the fact that you chose it, aligned with your energy.
Precisely. It's about agency, not just conformity.
Let's look closer at some of the studies you mentioned. The productivity differences, for example.
Okay, yeah. So early birds, predictably, have more energy in the morning, better suited for traditional work schedules. One study even found they tend to be more physically active overall.
Makes sense if they're up and at 'em early.
Right. Night owls, though, peak later. We talked about the creativity angle. Fast Company highlighted that. But here's a kicker. A huge study in 2024, like 26,000 people, suggested night owls might actually score higher on some tests for intelligence, reasoning, and memory.
Whoa, really? That turns the early bird thing on its head.
Kind of. Though the researchers themselves caution we need to be careful things like education level or even when the tests were taken could influence those results. But still, it challenges the stereotype.
Definitely food for thought. And socially, how are they seen?
Well, early birds generally have an easier time fitting in, as we said. They're often perceived as more responsible, more achievement-oriented, maybe get more social support because they're synced up with everyone else.
While night owls are battling those perceptions of laziness.
Yeah, they have to work harder to navigate a world not quite built for them.
But this is where things are changing, right? Flexible work.
Huge game changer. Remote work, flexible hours. This is massive, especially for night owls. It allows them to actually align their work with when they're naturally most productive and focused.
Which reduces stress, probably boosts their output.
Absolutely. It moves away from that rigid, one-size-fits-all model that really only favored early birds. It acknowledges biological diversity.
It really does challenge those old sayings, doesn't it? The early bird gets the worm. Might not be the whole story anymore. Research is showing night owls can be just as successful.
Exactly. It's about finding your own worm, whenever that happens to be.
This whole idea of understanding your rhythm, choosing your schedule, it feels like it connects to something deeper. Like, how do you stop just letting life happen to you and become a real participant in it?
That's such a powerful question. Because you're right, it's easy to become a passive observer in our own lives, isn't it?
Totally. You follow the path your parents suggested, or you get influenced by social media, or you just kind of go through the motions at work.
There's this great analogy, like, life is a play. Some act, some watch. The participant isn't just an actor. They're writing the script, directing, and performing. They're engaged at every level.
Wow, I love that. Writing your own script. But why is that so hard? Why do so many of us end up just watching?
Well, there are some big hurdles. One is definitely social expectations. The constant shoulds. You should have this by now. You should choose the stable path. We're often taught to obey, not necessarily to choose for ourselves.
Yeah, but pressure is real.
Then there's fear. Fear of messing up, fear of what people will think, fear of financial insecurity, fear of failure. But here's the thing. Not choosing is also a choice. It's silently choosing to live someone else's script, often driven by that fear.
Oof, that hits home. Not choosing is choosing.
And finally, there's just inertia. Days slip by, you scroll, you procrastinate, you don't actively decide to be a spectator, but you just don't take action. And suddenly you're watching from the sidelines.
Okay, so how do we break free? How do you actually make that shift from observer to participant? Got any practical tips?
Yeah, a few things come to mind. First, you have to ask yourself, seriously, tune out the noise, the shoulds, the expectations, and listen to your own inner voice. What do you truly want? Are your choices coming from passion or from fear?
Like really check in with yourself.
Exactly. Journaling helps. Talking to yourself helps. Maybe even ask yourself at the end of each day, was that choice really mine today, or was I just going along?
That's a great daily practice. Simple but powerful.
What else? Second, make choices. Don't just wait. Remember, not deciding is usually deciding against what you really want. Don't wait until you feel 100% ready, because that day might never come.
So jump in.
Sort of. Start small. Participants learn by doing. Small choices build momentum. Decide to exercise today. Say no to that obligation that drains you. Sign up for that online class you've been eyeing. Map out a dream, even if it seems far-fetched. Each small action is you saying, I'm participating.
Building that muscle of choice.
Exactly. And the third thing is crucial. Allow for adjustments. Being a participant, being in control, isn't about getting everything perfect on the first try. It's about having the courage to start and the flexibility to pivot when things don't go as planned.
So mistakes are part of the process.
Absolutely. Participants make mistakes, but they don't see them as dead ends. They see them as data. They learn, they recalibrate, they rechart their course. They don't get paralyzed by imperfection.
Okay, so a participating life. It might not be the smoothest ride, maybe not always the most stable in the conventional sense.
Probably not.
But it sounds like it would be infinitely more fulfilling, more authentic.
That's the goal, right. And speaking of adjusting and participating, our friend Mickey, who's about to head off on this amazing European trip.
Oh yeah, Mickey.
He shared something really profound that fits perfectly here. He said, life is an adjustment, constantly stepping out and correcting.
Life is an adjustment, constantly stepping out and correcting. Wow. Let's unpack that. What's the wisdom there?
Well, first, it highlights that action comes before clarity. So many people wait to have it all figured out before they start anything.
Guilty.
We all are sometimes. But often, you only find the right path by starting to walk. You take a few steps, realize, maybe not this way. You try something else, you learn from what didn't work, and you keep adjusting. Clarity emerges through the process, not before it.
So you don't need the whole map, just the next step.
Pretty much. And second, that word adjustment. It tells us that changing course isn't failure, it's evolution. Think about an airplane flying to its destination.
Okay.
It's actually off course something like 90% of the time. But the autopilot is constantly making tiny corrections. It's always adjusting. If we're too afraid to adjust, we just stay stuck.
That's a great image. Constant micro-corrections keep you heading generally in the right direction.
Exactly. And finally, stepping out. That's the core of participation. It doesn't have to be some massive leap off a cliff. Just one small step out of your comfort zone, out of inertia, signing up for that class, saying no to something that doesn't align, writing down a goal, cleaning your desk, anything that signals, I'm choosing to engage, I'm stepping onto the stage of my own life.
Vicky's really nailed it there. It connects everything, understanding yourself, making choices, and having the courage to adjust.
It really does.
So wrapping this all up, whether you're reading this at 6 a.m. with your coffee or 1 a.m. with whatever night owls drink.
Yeah.
The key to mastering your life isn't about forcing yourself into a societal mold based on the clock. It's deeper than that.
It's about truly understanding your unique rhythm, embracing flexibility both in your schedule and in your life path, and maybe most importantly, making that conscious choice to be an active participant, not just a spectator.
So the question we leave you with is this. In a world that's constantly trying to schedule you, influence you, maybe even automate you, how will you choose to genuinely participate in your own life?
How will you leverage your natural energy, your chronotype, and make those necessary adjustments along the way? Definitely something to mull over.
We really hope this chat about early birds, night owls, and what it means to master life has given you some useful things to think about.
Yeah, hope it sparks something.
And hey, if you enjoyed this conversation, please do subscribe to Sip and Talk wherever you get your podcasts. We'd love to have you back.
Definitely. And also give a shout out to our friend Mickey. Check out his YouTube channel, Mickytolife.
Yes, he does great stuff. Memes, music, wine reviews, apparently, and soon, amazing travel vlogs from Europe.
Mickey, if you're listening, sending you the biggest good luck vibes for your European adventure. Embrace the adjustments, man. We know you'll crush it.
Totally. Have an amazing time.
And just a final note, as always, our goal here is to share information objectively and encourage you to think for yourself. We explore these topics without any bias or criticism towards any group, just offering ideas for discussion. Thanks so much for tuning in.